Tron 1982 synopsis. A computer hacker is abducted into the digital world and forced to participate in a gladiatorial games where his only chance of escape is with the help of a heroic security program. And next, Tron Legacy 2010 synopsis. The son of a virtual world designer goes looking for his father and ends up inside the digital world that his father designed. He meets his father's corrupt creation and a unique ally who is born inside the digital world. Hey guys, and welcome to a very special movie review. This is a first for my YouTube channel. I'm actually going to double feature review for first Tron 1982 and then Tron Legacy 2010. Tron 1982 is rated G with a duration of 1 hour and 36 minutes. It's an action, adventure, sci-fi movie directed by Steven Libercher with a cast of Jeff Bridges, who plays Kevin Flynn, also known as Clue, Bruce Boxleitner as plays Alan Bradley, also known as Tron, David Warner as Ed, Delina, Sark, Master Programmer, Cindy Morgan as Laura, aka York, and next we have an absolutely incredible 28 years later, Tron Legacy. Rated PG with a duration of 2 hours and 5 minutes long. It's an action, adventure, sci-fi movie once again, and was directed by Joseph Kosinski, with a cast reprising their roles from the original 1982 film is, once again, Jeff Bridges as Kevin Flynn, also known as the movie as Clue, an original cast member of Garrett Hedlund as Sam Flynn, and the absolutely stunning Olivia Wilde as Guerra, and reprising his role also from the 1982 Tron is Bruce Boxleitner as Alan Bradley, also known as Tron. So for those of you who haven't seen these movies, first off I need to tell you, these bad boys and incredibly amazing movies are both on Disney Plus. You're welcome. So if you don't have Disney Plus, sorry about it. I'm sure they're on DVD somewhere. But if you do have Disney Plus, there you go. They're available for you right now. Straight off the bat, I need to say something, guys. I actually didn't even know that Tron 1982 existed because I was born in 1983. Figure that one out. You're welcome. So I had no idea about Tron, the original Tron movie. I didn't even know it was a thing. No idea. Absolutely no clue whatsoever. Didn't even know it was a thing. Now that I've seen it, I'm actually so glad that I've seen it now in my life because I have so much of a deeper appreciation than I ever would have at all in any way, shape or form if I had seen it way back then. And I don't even think that I would have cared about it. Now, this movie, if you were born when I was born in that era of 1982, this movie is the epitome definition of what it would look like of humans being inside a game. Literally, an arcade game. They've literally made it look like the 1982 version. They've literally made it look like human beings are inside this arcade video game, and I kid you not, in any way, shape or form, looking back at it, seeing it where it was today, I'm not joking, you guys. One, it was made in 1982, so I did not think I was going to be interested in even watching this. It had me hook, line, and sinker. I was so ridiculously, outstandingly impressed with this movie straight off the bat. Like, for real. I could not believe how real and authentic they made it look like these characters were genuinely inside a video game, actually acting out like they were inside a video game. Like, for real, an arcade video game. It was so well done. I kid you not in any way, shape or form, guys. This movie is really one of those movies that you rewatch literally all these years later, and just have such an appreciation and a value for the effort that they went into making it a reality of humans being in a game, like for real. It is so well done. Now, for those of you who have seen the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about when I talk about this. And those of you who haven't seen the movie, if you've got Disney or Disney Plus, or if you just own it already, I want to tell you this for real. It is outstanding to me watching this movie, seeing the color palette and realizing how much of what they did with the technology that they had back then, how they could use it, how they utilized what they had when they had it, and how effective it was back then. This movie is so incredibly well done. Obviously, when you can see the humans are inside of the video game, and for those of you who, as I said, those of you who have seen it, you know what I'm talking about. There's parts of the movie in the reality and parts of the movie inside the game. And what they've done is the parts of the movie in the reality is the beginning of the film and the end of the film. And no, that's not a spoiler. That's just how the movie works. And then the in-between sequences are inside the video game. And you're like, wait, how do they get inside the video game? That makes no sense, because it is actually the gamer. They call it that today. I call them gamers, but it's actually they call them users back then, which is really interesting terminology for a video gamer. So they call them users, and the users, Jeff Bridges' character, actually ends up inside the video game, which is how they did that. The way they did that is really, really clever. And Tron Legacy, they do it a very, very, almost basically the same way. It's just the technology is more advanced, but I'll get to that soon. It is so incredible at how well they made it look like that the people were in the video game. And I tell you, the arcade style that they used for them being in a video game, flawless. Absolutely flawless. And for those of you who've been following me for any period of time, when I get to the trivia of this review, of this double feature review, I'm actually going to tell you something that I found fascinating according to the review about the awards. So this was going to win an award, and due to something it didn't. And now you look at cinema now, and it's totally different story altogether. Absolutely different concept. Everything's different about it. Guys, this is, and for those of you who've been following me for any period of time, what I like to call in the core elements DNA of film that it needs to be today. And I'm watching this so many more years later. These two movies are old. It is ridiculous at how, looking now back at those films, at how far we have come in cinema. Like, it is just extraordinary. It really, really, really is. And that's what I like to call, because these movies need the core element, and I was hooked. I really, really, really was hooked. And what I like to call in cinema, for those of you who've been following me for any period of time, you know exactly what I'm going to say: rewatchability. Rewatchability, guys, is one of those things in cinema, in movies, like Tron Legacy, that you want to go back. And both of these movies have rewatchability in absolute spades. I just genuinely couldn't believe how entertained I was, especially from Tron, knowing that it came out a year before I was born. Like, this was so impressive. The feat of the character chemistry, the villains in it, the way that there's certain elements of the characters in the actual game of Tron helped out other characters, and the way that if something exploded, or the way that something was crashed into something else, and the way that other characters wouldn't interact because, hey, you're not a part of the game. Just incredible. Absolute feat of brilliant filmmaking at its absolute finest. And speaking of finest, that is my perfect segue into Tron Legacy. Ladies and gentlemen, I would now like to take you into the world and my personal review of Tron Legacy 2010. Wow. Talk about cranking it up to the level of just pure brilliance. Now, obviously, for those of you who don't know about this, Jeff Bridges is back in Tron Legacy. Okay, he's back. He reprised his role. Now, the most incredible thing about the fact that he reprised his role, you're like, whoa, wait a second. That is years old. Years old. How could he reprise his role? Correct. Back then, they started using the de-aging technology all the way back in Tron. Now, did it work and was it obvious? Yeah, it was brilliant. Oh my gosh, it was brilliant. Man alive, it was so good. Now, this is the most fascinating part about the movie, Tron Legacy. Not only the fact that the CGI and the visual color palette aesthetics of Tron Legacy was just brilliant. And I mean, I've been trying to think of a word besides on steroids, because I don't even like that terminology, but just literally at its core finest element of what a movie needs to just be incredibly brilliant. Now, one thing I'm going to say about Tron Legacy, and it's about a certain character that made me go, oh, that threw me off. That was like, what? And it's the dinner table scene. Okay, for those of you who haven't seen the movie, when you see it, the dinner table scene, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Those of you who have seen the movie, the dinner table scene, his eye makeup. Oh man, talk about overkill. Not Jeff Bridges' character, but Jeff Bridges' son's character. His eyeline. I'm talking about Sam Flynn's character. Garnett's character, Sam Flynn's character. His eyeline, his makeup in that scene is just so saturated. It's so thick. It's so clear that he's wearing makeup. And I know that's probably nitpicking. I get that is probably nitpicking now that I'm saying it out loud. But I just want to let you know that kind of made me go, whoa. Yes, that is a really, really, really small part of how incredible this movie is. And it's not even bad. It really, 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 really isn't. This movie is a feat of just wow factor. WOW. For real, guys. Incredible. One of the things that I found interesting about this movie, to do with Sam Flynn's character, who's Jeff Bridges' son in this movie, Clue's son in this movie, that I just kept seeing over and over and over and over and over. And those of you who've been following me for any period of time, and I've never actually done a review on this movie, but he reminded me so much in such a strong way of Charlie Hunn's character in Pacific Rim. Now, for those of you who've been following me for any period of time, when you see it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Sam Flynn reminded me so much of Charlie Hunn, his character in Pacific Rim. I mean, like, literally. Like his mannerisms, the way he spoke, his physicality, everything about him in Tron Legacy reminded me of Charlie Hunn in Pacific Rim. And not in a bad way. Not in a bad way in any way, shape, or form. In no way, shape, or form was it bad. It just reminded me. Now, another thing, speaking of other movies, guys, one of the other things, there's a sequence in this movie towards the end of the movie where and I tell you, wow, man, talk about a feat of brilliance. Even the mechanics of some of the things that move other characters, and again, the same movie is just the digital age. Like, if they make another one of this, man, I can't even begin to think of how extreme and how amazing it would look today. Like another, 10 years time, like they did it another 10 years time and did another one. Wow. Whoa, that would be incredible. But there's certain mechanics of the first movie that they brought. I mean, they brought so much of it into the new movie and just made it look just more incredible. I mean, it was just so outstandingly, amazingly, brilliantly perfect. It's not perfect, but it's really, really incredible. I mean, just masterful. And how they got them to create the vehicles in which they drive, how they actually are are formed into the the motorbikes and the cars and the flying elements. And one of the things, speaking of flying elements, that I really saw, it actually reminded me of the chase sequence in Avatar where the creatures are flying through Pandora. That fully, I saw Pandora. I only saw Pandora, but not the color palette of Pandora. But the same flying sequence, I literally saw them flying through Pandora, which is, again, a brilliant, just a feat of brilliance, absolute incredible. It just blew my mind. It really blew my mind at how incredibly just bonkers awesome that the second movie was. Now, the only thing that I have to say about the second movie that I thought lacked compared to the first movie, and again, not in a negative way, guys, really not in a negative way, both of these movies are brilliant, was the simple fact, guys, some of the elements in the movie, some of the scenes where they're having deep and meaningful conversations, and they're kind of, yeah, deep and meaningful conversations, sort of slows the movie down, not to its extremities, but it does slow the movie down a little bit. And I tell you what, guys, I kid you not, I am not in any way, shape, or form saying anything negative about this movie. I am really, genuinely, authentically not. I am blown away by both movies, especially a sequel to this level. Man alive. And Jeff Bridges he comes into this movie and he is his old, yeah, and it's all explained. It's all explained completely and thoroughly, totally explained. He comes into this movie and he's in the movie and he's the digital de-aging of his character, and then later on you see him as as he is in 2010. Wow. Just wow. Brilliant, amazing, incredible. Olivia Wilde is stunning and beautiful, incredible, brilliantly amazing, and just everyone's character in these two movies are just outstanding. They really are, guys. I kid you not, in any way, shape, or form at all. I promise you, I genuinely promise you that you'll be impressed. So for anyone, those of you who have been following me, and yes, Tron Legacy absolutely has rewatchability, 100% rewatchability. But for those of you, you know that I love icing on a cake. You know that I love cake. So for cake in my movie reviews, guys, I love to give you guys, my audience, my subscribers, my viewers, trivia. So it's trivia time! Trivia for Tron 1982 is, the film was disqualified from receiving an Academy Award nomination for special effects because the Academy felt at the time that using computers was cheating. Next piece of trivia is, guys, although the film was initially a failure, the arcade video games based on it proved to be a tremendous hit and actually outgrossed the film. Next piece of trivia is, to inspire the actors, arcade games were placed in the production set and could be played during downtime. Jeff Bridges apparently was the most adept at the game and found him so hard to tear himself away from the game to shoot a scene. Next piece of trivia is, guys, Jeff Bridges produced too much of a bulge in the crotch area in his computer outfit, so he was forced to wear a dance belt to conceal it. Next and final piece of trivia for Tron 1982 is, all the live action that occurred in the computer was filmed in black and white and colorized later with photographic and rotoscopic photo techniques. And now, trivia for Tron Legacy 2010 is, The crowd voices during the disc battle at the beginning of the film are actually the voices of the audiences at the presentation at Comic-Con. How amazing is that? Next piece of trivia is, guys, Olivia Wilde is the only actor in the film playing a program who doesn't wear contact lenses for their role due to the natural intensity of her eyes. This is not including Clue or Tron, who are created in the images of their users. Next piece of trivia is, guys, shooting the film lasted only 64 days. Post-production, due to the heavy special effects, required 68 weeks. Next piece of trivia is, guys, in an interview, Jeff Bridges noted that as he was scanned in to the computer for CGI effects, he realized this was the same technique that fictionally happened to him in the original Tron 1982. Next piece of trivia is, guys, Olivia Wilde's futuristic gear was so effective that when she showed up on set one day as herself after 2 months of work, she was stopped by a security official who demanded to see ID. Next piece of trivia is, guys, Olivia Wilde had to learn how to do her stunts a second time upon discovering her high heels character that she wore in the movie. Next piece of trivia is, guys, most expensive film ever made by a first-time director with a production budget of 170 million US dollars. Next piece of trivia is, guys, the wardrobe budget for this film was $13 million. One custom suit alone for the races cost $60,000. Next and final piece of trivia, and my personal favorite for this movie, is in addition to the soundtrack, Daft Punk is spinning the tunes at the end of Lion Club with their trademark helmets on. How cool is that? Guys, so much. I really appreciate you sticking through this. Have you yourselves had a chance to see Tron or Tron Legacy? Let me know in the comment section below. And if you haven't, speaking of the comment section below, while you're down there, if you'd be so kind, guys, and go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. And I really appreciate you. While you're subscribing, click that bell for notifications. That way, when I drop anything of yours straight away, I really appreciate it. And that, speaking of appreciation, guys, I'd love a thumb up on my movie review for Tron and Tron Legacy. I'd really value that so much. That's amazing, guys. Have you guys seen it? What did you think about it? I'd really appreciate your feedback. That'd be amazing. Leave your comments in the comment section below. And don't forget, who's bringing this double feature movie review for Tron and Tron Legacy, guys, to you. This is Superman Steve, guys, flying out!